Alright guys, so we're here in the final round of our Theros pre-release at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. 42 players started off this event, and this is the final round. Our last undefeated player in the room is Alec Myers, limited ringer. He's won multiple of these before. He is playing an aggressive Boros deck, and his opponent is Chris Booth, who we saw in round one. He did pick up a loss last round to Brandon Gibbs, but otherwise he has the best shot here of finishing first should he knock out Alec. So this is going to be the championship. So we see Alec serving in with his guys here, and the unbestowed creature on the unbestowed 2/2 flyer on Chris's side. And Alec is going to figure out, or Chris trying to figure out what he wants to do here as far as trading. I'm going to go remind them about the glare. Alright, trying to get the glare situation sorted out. There is an Erebos's, is that Familiar or Emissary? It's the 3/3 that he can discard creatures to make it bigger. It is in fact the Emissary. So we're going to bestow the Eidolon, I believe, onto the heroic guy, give it a counter. It's now vigilant. He's going to swing in, knocking Booth all the way down to 12. So this one might be over pretty early. We talked about it all day, or at least I've talked about it all day, despite no one probably wanting to hear about it. But it feels like all of the decks in this format are pretty slow. And then there's this one very, very aggressive Boros deck. So we got the Citizen Battle Priest, the 1/3 with heroic trigger, gain 2 life. And then we've got the what is that guy's name? No, the other one. The other one that gets bigger. And I believe with the Observant Alseed bestowed on it, which makes it a 5/5 vigilance. So Chris is going to drop down to 12 from Read the Bones, going to try and find an answer to this predicament he's in, staring down at least one very aggressive creature here. Currently not able to deal with it. And then he's going to go ahead and bounce the creature, scry one, and just Alec is going to be left with the 2/2 vigilant. Fix the glare by covering the light source instead. Well, that's a real simple solution. It's amazing I haven't thought about that. What's that? Not possible. I'm going to go ahead and chain to the rocks here, taking out the Emissary, allowing him to serve in now with 3 powers worth of guy, knocking Chris down to 7, then adding the creature that was bounced last turn. So Chris still in a spot here. Oh, that's the Wingsteed Rider, the 2/2 heroic that grows, and it's a 2/2 flyer for 3. So Booth is going to cast his Kraken here. Not going to be able to stop the flyer with a 4-turn clock on that way, and Chris is two mana sources off of being able to make the Kraken monstrous. He is just going to serve in with the flyer, dropping Booth down to 5, and then adds a card I could not see, guys. I apologize again. It's a decorated griffin, a 2/3 flyer that allows you to prevent damage by paying 1 and a white. So we're going to cycle the enchantment that lets you draw when it comes in and draw when the creature dies. We're going to use the whip to take care of the 2/3 flyer. Then we're going to use Chain to the Rocks to get rid of the Kraken and attack in for the win. So Alec gets there. 2 copies of Chain to the Rocks. It's going to be good enough. It looks like the finals might be over relatively quickly, as Alec has one of the fastest decks in the room, if not the fastest deck in the room. It is not a mistake that he is currently undefeated at 5-0. Alright guys, as we do shuffle up here, in case this is the last game that we have for it, I do really appreciate you guys watching. We've had over 200 people watching for the majority of today's broadcast. It's definitely numbers that we appreciate. I know that you guys have a lot of options when it comes to watching Magic coverage online, and we appreciate you taking the chance to watch us here at Lost Legion. And again, make sure you support those who support the stream and visit our sponsors, affinityforcards.com, for all your Magic singles needs. Use promo code LOSTLEGION for 5% off of your first order, as well as inked playmats, makers of the sweet custom double playmat that you see used on all of our feature matches. Great products and great prices. Head over to inkedplaymats.com. Also remember, guys, if you go over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic, you can still get in our weekly F&M stream giveaway. Of course, that was announced last night during our F&M stream, but you've got until next F&M to enter. This week we're giving away 5 Zendikar Full Art Basics, your choice of your favorite art for each land type. So head over to facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic. Look for the giveaway announcement I made last night, and it will have instructions there on how you can enter 4 separate ways you can get an entry into that drawing. And if you are enjoying the sealed coverage, make sure you do follow us here on Twitch and check back in future weeks as we do a weekly F&M stream at 6:30 p.m. Eastern every single Friday. Usually standard, but next week it will be the Theros release party, and we'll be doing a booster draft featuring a hand cam, watching the picks of one of our seasoned limited players, and then all 3 rounds from that feature pod. So it should be a good time, and hope you can make it back then. Alright, now the chat's complaining about the way Alec is shuffling. I could literally care less about your opinion on that. We're playing at our local card store in a Theros pre-release. We're having a good time. If you genuinely think that Alec is in some way cheating, then God help you. I don't know what to tell you, bud. Alright, so we're off to the game here. Alec mulling down to 6. Booth casting another Read the Bones, also playing a 3/3 defender, which, because he is Dimir, he can activate and attack with in future. And Alec with just the 2/1 Trampler. And there's yet another Chain from the Rocks. Alec going to be able to get in with his 2-drop. So Alec proing his guy, and then Chris is going to discard a creature to make it big enough so that it won't die, or buffing his guy, I should say, but Alec is still going to get to scry off that. And now Chris is going to serve in with his Emissary, dropping Alec down to 17. Let's see what Alec's got here. I do not know what that one is. I don't know if I've seen that one today. It doesn't matter what it was because it's going to get turned to Swine. I'm going to cycle the enchantment on the Emissary here. And then pound in for another 3. Chris has been using that creature enchantment a considerable amount. I think just as if you're short on playables, it definitely gets definitely makes the cut as your 22nd, 23rd card. It does give you some value if your primary creature gets removed from gets taken out, but mostly just another source for triggering heroic. Cut it in. And if you're ever short on playables. So he's continuing to pound in. With the 1/1, he's going to discard 2 creatures, go down to 7. Then he's going to cast the card that lets get him 2 creature cards back to his hand. So some pretty sick synergy there. Discarding 2 to get an extra 4 damage. Then buying them right back with the sorcery. So Chris down to 12 here. All of his lands in a giant pile over to the left side of the mat. He's going to serve in with the 3/3. Alec's going to have to chump. We know Chris has enough creatures in his hand to make it lethal. Here's 6. Are we going to unleash the Kraken? We have released it. And then Alec is going to Magma Jet Chris at end of turn, just to try and find an answer, as he is hellbent. Shoves them both, drawing off the top. What did he find? If Chris finds another land, he'll be able to go monstrous on his Kraken, and that will win the game here, getting past the last blocker. It's obviously not a land, otherwise it would be we'd be packing them up and shuffling up for game 3. We're going to serve in here. Has to block the Emissary, otherwise it would be huge. Tapping everything down for... Everyone's screaming for the Kraken to be released. Unfortunately, it does not look like Chris has the 8th land just yet to get that done. And there we add a Triton. Did Alec draw something relevant? It's the Eidolon, I believe. Or I should say Heliod's Emissary. But just as a creature, when it attacks, you can tap target creature an opponent controls. It's a 3/3. He's going to pass back. Will we be releasing the Kraken? Land off the top? There it is. Alec not even going to let him get there, but the Kraken has been released. So we at least get the achievement unlocked. Kraken released. So we go into a decider here. Alex stumbling a little bit there with his aggressive deck not getting the draw that he needed. And Chris's deck, despite being much more of a late game deck with a pretty significant high end, does have some very efficient 2 and 3 drops that put on a considerable amount of pressure and do stop Alec from having any kind of favorable attacks. So some pretty good Magic today, guys. I'll be honest with you. We've had some events like this in the past where we just haven't had things just haven't worked out as we would have liked them in terms of the quality of play. But we had a lot of good players today with a lot of good pools. Interesting to see how this format's shaking out. I have yet to play this limited format, but it seems pretty good. Pretty excited about the Heroic and Bestow mechanics. It's really been really interesting to see how well the rare cycle of equipment affects the games. We have seen all 5 of them make an appearance: the whip, the bow, the spear, the hammer, and the bident. And all of them seemingly nearly impossible to beat under the right circumstances. Booth, of course, texting his best BFF Jill. OMG, totes in a decider, final round, LOL. So Alec mulliganing down to 6. He finds 6 that he can keep and leads off with the plains. Here's the 2-drop. And then Chris going to follow it up with the Defender. Basically the same start from Alec in this game as it was in the first game with the 2-2 Heroic and the 1-3. Not nearly the aggro start that he wanted. The Phalanx Leader. Oh no, the Phalanx Leader is pretty good. It's the one that Heroic pumps everything. And then the Citizen Battle Priest, which is in fact the 1-3 Heroic. Gain it 2 life. And so for the third consecutive game on turn 3, Chris casting Read the Bones, but of course it is a common, so very likely he has multiple copies. And there we have the Heliod's Emissary. 3/3 Master of Diversions, basically. When it attacks, tap target creature. So Chris is going to want to kill that if he can. And he is going to Curse of Swine them, turn them into 2/2s. It's interesting, when that card was spoiled, I wasn't sure how good it was. But with the number of creatures that have abilities, just turning them into vanilla 2/2s is really strong. We saw in round 1, Chris was able to buy that back. I forget which card he used, but he cast it twice against Scotty Wright, and both times just massive blowouts. As long as you are ahead, that card, or as long as you have a sizable presence on board, Curse and Swine might as well be a Wrath of God. So he casts Insatiable Harpy, a flying 2/2 with lifelink. He's going to go ahead and get in there for the 4-point life swing. So the Harpy gets in again, dropping Alec down to 16. Chris's follow-up is the Erebos' Emissary. And Chris picks off a Gift of Immortality. Is that what that card is called? Hero's Resolve. Gift of Immortality, picks it off with an annul. So Chris is going to, or Alec is going to triple block on the 3/3, on the 2/2 or 3/3, on the 3/3. Now Chris would need to discard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He'd need to discard 2 creatures in order for it to survive, and 3 creatures in order for it to kill Alec's team here. So Alec obviously flooding out here on his Mold to 6. And interesting there, Chris choosing to discard nothing and just killing the 1/3. And then is going to cast a Mnemonic Wall and buy back his Curse of Swine. So the same trick he used in the round I was talking about before, and the Mnemonic Wall was in fact the card he used to get the value. I don't know what that thing is either. But it does have flash, so it's coming in at the end of Alec's turn. That would be the Melodist Charlatan. Or maybe it's not at the end of his turn. But he can pay 2 and a blue and copy a instant or sorcery spell. So he's going to cast Read in Bones. He's not going to copy it with his Charlatan, though. And then attacks in with his Harpy again. So just grinding Alec out with the 2/2 flying lifelinker. It's a 10-turn clock, I guess. And then Alec just struggling this game. Drawing all white mana sources with a fistful of red cards, I'm sure. And so we're going to bestow the 2/2 flying creature onto the Charlatan, making it a 4/5, and then serve in with his flyers, knocking Alec down to 6. Alec dead on board. And just passes back, so either drew a removal spell, or he's just making Chris play it out. And that's it. So an unfortunate way for the tournament to end is Alec got somewhat upset as he is flailing out all the red cards that would have made this game a lot more interesting to watch. And obviously unfortunate to see that in any circumstance. But congratulations to Chris Booth. He basically wins today's Theros pre-release. He goes 5-1, knocking off the last undefeated player in Alec. And then with tiebreakers, he's going to finish in first place. So congratulations to him. More importantly, guys, thanks for watching today. This is going to end our event here. But we do appreciate you checking us out. Got up to about 270 people today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, this is something that we enjoy putting on for you, and we'd love to have you back for our F&M streams in the past or in the future. And whatnot. If you enjoyed what you saw today but missed some of the rounds, make sure to go to our YouTube channel. These videos should be up late tomorrow night. That's at youtube.com/ZachSellsMagic, and make sure to subscribe over there and visit us on all our forms of social media here. The username for all of it is ZachSellsMagic. I know it's horrible branding because I don't really sell magic anymore, but I am Zach, and I would love to get in touch with you. If you got any feedback of the stream and things like that, we'd love to hear it. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go out to your pre-release on Sunday if you haven't had a chance yet. It's a super fun format. I'm sure you're going to have a good time. And then we will see you guys the next time, which will be next Friday, again for Theros Booster Draft, featuring hand cam and 3 rounds on our Super Pod, like we do every release party. So thanks again, guys. Have yourself a good rest of the weekend, and we'll see you next week.